Hey everyone, coming up on June 5th on Oil and Whiskey, none other than our friend Joe Rogan. Great conversation, great podcast. This is something you're not going to want to miss. Until then, here's a little teaser from that episode.
Roaster shop. Let's go. Hey man, is that my car over your right shoulder? Is that my Chevelle?
It sure is.
Hell yeah. For that show Rides, they built me that 1970 Cuda. It was a beautiful car, but it was terrible to drive. Immediately, it was like, I got to send it to Roaster Shop.
Were you as big as you are now back then? I mean, that may have had a sway
intimidation factor, you saying?
Well, I mean, big physically? Yeah. I was just as big physically, but I don't think they were worried about me beating them up.
Sick car, man. I mean, the black and white Chevelle.
Doesn't get any fucking better.
It's such a classic. I always tell people to get them. I'm telling all my friends to get them. You know, like, I don't know, is it practical? Shut the fuck up about practical. Go get that goddamn thing. Let's go. Let's go.
What's up, everyone? Before we get things started today, I wanted to let you know that Into the Fray is back. That's right, IRONCLAD's flagship series that shows you behind the scenes of how we do what we do is here to stay. Check out a sneak peek here. We are done with the first scene, which was the cell block scene, and now we're gonna do the scene where two guards transport James Reese.
When I look at any project, I always try to envision how it will be in its final state, but I also try to think about who I'm working with in the crew. The good news is the crew for this is all an IRONCLAD team, and we're so well oiled. This was one of those ones that we really just had fun as a group with.
I think Jesse played a huge role in legitimizing our industry, the bike industry, the fabrication industry, with everything you did 10, 15 years ago on TV, and it brought it to the mainstream. So
yeah, he romanticized it and put the sex behind it to where it wasn't, like you said, it was still the counterculture thing, but it wasn't a dumb counterculture thing. It was like, oh shit, so you're a badass like Jesse James? Yeah. For lack of a better description, absolutely. We'll go with that, you know?
My wife, I was telling, like, my wife was laughing at me. It's like, I've done all this badass stuff my whole like adult life. Look, yeah, I'm going to build a chopper, and then I'm going to build guns, and then I'm going to learn how to forge. I'm going to go to Israel, and then I'm going to be a badass welder and all this stuff. Everything I can to like have chicks think I'm cool. But then I end up, instead, I got like a legion of dudes that think I'm cool.
Dude, we've always said that about the shit we do.
Car show stuff.
Yeah.
God damn it.
fucking dude magnets.
At least you got to experience like the bike lifestyle, because the chopper thing, I mean, chicks dig that. That's a little wilder scene.
Yeah, you got bikini contests and topless chicks everywhere. Yeah. We got 65 to 80-year-old men.
Welcome to Oil and Whiskey, an IRONCLAD original. I am Josh Henning.
I'm Phil Gerber.
I'm Jeremy Gerber.
Welcome everybody back to Oil and Whiskey, an IRONCLAD original. Whether you get your podcasts, whether you consume your media, audio or video, we're glad to have you. If you consume it by video, we've got a new YouTube page, the Oil and Whiskey YouTube page.
How about that?
I just needed to have something else on the end of that, but yeah.
What's on that?
Oil and Whiskey
podcast
episodes.
Right? Episodes?
Yeah,
nice.
all of the episodes, every single one that we have done is on Oil and Whiskey YouTube page. So
get caught up.
Check it out, like it, subscribe it, enjoy it.
Send it to your friends,
watch,
have them like it.
Yeah, share it. Whatever you can do, just there's a bunch of buttons down there. Just hit them all. Hit them all.
Except the thumbs down. Don't hit
the thumbs down. But first, we've got a new edition of On the Gas. This is a segment where we take some time to shout out an individual vendor shop or company that's got their foot on the gas, doing badass stuff, or just somebody we want to give it like a shout out to.
Yeah, doing good stuff for the industry.
Yep. This week we have Griot's Garage.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Sometimes we think about the big dogs, you know, but they've been killing it. Been awesome to work with on our end too. Helped us out quite a bit with the Brent's 70 Chevelle out at the Roadster show, and then again at Portland. Killer job on a jet black car, making it nice and shiny for the indoor car shows. So we can't thank him enough for that. But A lot of good products.
Family-owned business. Got a great story. I think we're going to try to get one or two of them on here for guests.
Nick's got a hell of a car collection.
Yeah, he's got some taste as well on some stuff. He's a bourbon guy, too.
Yeah, I briefly hung out with him at Elkhart Lake for the vintage weekend, so love to get him on here, and I'm sure they've got a cool story. It's always been an interesting company.
Check out Griots. I want to thank them for all their help. They obviously built some badass products. Seems like they actually give a shit. Most of the, like you said, traditional big dogs in the industry aren't really owned by the same people or, maybe have the same passion.
Sure.
So good to see that. Today's guest is TV star, designer, entrepreneur, and overall badass, Jesse James.
How's it going?
Good, man.
What have you been up to since you were last on, man? Building badass bikes and cars and guns and... Did you ever get all those people taken care of with the fucking keychains? That's that's the recurring comment.
I think I got the most of it done. Yeah, I think it's the last time I'm ever using PayPal for anything, because PayPal, if you do too much business, they just seize your account, and then they lock up everything, so I can't get everybody's addresses. Like, we have a big, huge batch. I think Jason at the shop got them out, but a big, huge batch of stuff. And then I can't even ship them because everybody put their addresses in, on PayPal, but PayPal wouldn't release anything. So it's all good though. I came across something the other day. I think it was an old Facebook post with people bitching about not getting their keychain. Where the fuck's my keychain? Blah, blah, blah. And I looked, and it's from 2014 to one of the other contests. I think people have been mad about not getting them since I started doing it. And then when we did a CFL, they used to be mad about not getting their fenders, then not about getting their CFL frames. And then I think people are just going to be perpetually mad with whatever I'm making because they don't get it fast enough.
Part of it.
So
you've had some other news you're expecting, huh? Got a kid on the way?
Yeah, we're having a baby. Can you believe that?
Nice, man.
Congrats.
What are you putting together?
A little gun for a customer. These things are fit so tight that once you get everything, put DLC coating and stuff on it, the dimensions are 4-0 fit. So everything has to be stoned and refit just because of the coating,
Are you making every part, every piece in-house for these?
Yeah, just about everything but a barrel blank on the pistols, and then the rifles, we make 100% of the rifle in-house now.
How long did it take you to get that stainless Damascus shit figured out? I know you've been fucking with it for a while. That's got to be an absolute nightmare.
2 years, 2.5 years. Actually, I gotta check it out. This gun has its gold inlay. Oh fuck! How do I flip this goddamn camera around? Does it? Well,
Shake it.
I started shaking it. Okay. Yeah. This one's cool with gold inlay and blue, an oxy black blue. But I'm set of stainless Damascus groups.
Is that what that's the G Master?
Yeah, I got them in some stain right now. They've been in here all day, but you can get an idea of how it's cool looking. Let's take that out. And the stain just stains the lower part, so you can get an idea of the contrast. I'll take it out in the sunlight.
Is it staining or etching? It's staining?
It's staining just the lower,
I got you.
The part with a little bit of carbon in the Damascus.
That's nuts.
It's not, the gun. I got 2 or 3 more going that are going to be those long frame GMXs, and they start with these billets. This is a stack for a stainless gun. So this is the billet. So that's a billet stack. That's 40 pounds.
So what do you just stack them up and tack them together? They just
I TIG weld them all and fuse them. Yeah. They'll fuse the whole in. Then they get wrapped in a whole canister. Then they get a rod welded onto it so I can use it. And then this one's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 22 pieces to start off with. So then I cut it, and then it goes to 44, then 88, and so on and so on. And I think can't get them to do the layers too much, kind of have to do it like, if the layers is so fine that you can't see the layers when you're standing there looking at it, I was used to like be way into like, oh, it needs to have a ton of layers, all this stuff, but kind of now think like it's got to be visually appealing more than it has to be like a high layer count,
Was it the heat or the time, or what was the hardest part to tackle versus a regular like carbon steel Damascus?
It's everything. It's like heat, it has to be, I was trying to get it too hot because stainless melts at about 700 degrees cooler than carbon steel. I was getting it too hot, and then it also has to soak, so once it gets up like welding temperature, you have to kind of leave it in there for, about 45 minutes or an hour to make sure the center of that stack, that 40-pound stack, you got to make sure the center is just as hot as the actual outside. So that just lets it soak. And then also too, like the alchemy part of it, the etching it and getting it to, the carbon Damascus, we like use a salt bath etching technique that gives it those blue and purple colors. But the stainless, you can't etch it because you do it in acid, and then the acid heats up and eats away at the higher carbon stainless. And so what that does, since this thing is basically a bearing surface with the slide on it, you can't eat too much of it away because it'll just make the slide, if you take away your bearing surface, so it makes it, it'll loosen it up because it's taking material away.
That's awesome. It's
yeah,
absolutely amazing. Are you doing your own trigger bars and stuff like that too?
Oh yeah, everything.
Dude, getting into that Damascus stuff and forging, did that come just out of like sheer boredom, or like you already did everything in fabrication and you're like,
probably because it's hard as fuck.
Damn, what should I do now?
And it's like really like I have to nail it like twice just to get it so we can cut it with carbide tooling. Like it's really, really hard.
I mean, I've drilled through some leaf springs before, and that pisses me off enough to know that. Like, I don't want to fuck.
Well,
with
like a slide that all like people don't realize the process. You tell them $35,000 for an engraved pistol or $40,000. They don't realize like the process. Like you have to build it like you're going to engrave it right from the very start, because the material has to be engravable. Everything has to be machined in the hard state because there's so many little tiny dimensions. So you don't machine it soft and easy, and then everything moves around and then nothing works right and it doesn't shoot right and it's not accurate. So everything has to be hard. But then once you get it done and finished, then you have to anneal it again to have it engraved, because the engraver can't engrave and do gold inlay on something that's like Rockwell 60. So you have to bring it back down to about Rockwell 25, 28. Then you can engrave it. Then you have to heat treat it again, then temper it again a couple times, then do the final finishing again. So there's it's a long, long process just to do one and have it like function and work good. I think a lot of the engraved pistols you see, they're kind of older Colts where they kind of lowrider style engraving, then gold over it. And then, you could just look at the finish on the parts where it's not really a done, finished, awesome, like competition gun.
Are you doing any 2011s?
I got one that I'm doing for myself. I just hate the design. Like I'm really good friends with Ed Minshew and Virgil Tripp, the two dudes that kind of invented the 2011. And I just hate the way the grip design and the way it fits. It just sucks. It's just, you kind of have to overstretch the grip to get it onto the frame. And so like the first ones I did, I noticed like I got it all fit and shooting good. And then once I tightened the grip up, it changed the trigger job because the trigger ride or the hammer or the trigger shoe rides inside the grip. And I don't know, have a good design that's a little bit more mechanic user friendly. That I just need. We're just finishing a run of some new style railed pistols, like not a Damascus, but a G Master, but it has like a tack rail on it and an RMR, like a red dot. And
oh yeah,
there's a bird in here right now, and I think he's building a nest inside my shop. I think he's doing it inside the light because he just came over here with a whole big thing, like about a bill full of like straw or something. Yeah, we're doing that new tack gun, and then we're working on the Califas 2 that's all done. We're starting to cut parts on it. So then just like I only have like 5 or 6 CNC machines. So it's like, I don't want what you guys have, where there's a million people. I already had that. It sucks.
That's fucking awesome, dude. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I was going to ask, you're going to start like coming up with stuff that's easier to make, or you just like the challenge of doing the next harder, unaccomplishable thing?
I like stuff that's not a lot of people. And so to make the stuff I make just means it takes longer to get stuff done.
What grit stonework do you do on the slide rails and the slide to frame finish?
The slide frame fit is a 4.0 fit. So it's about 0.0004 or 5. That, and then, so you have to use grease on it, because with that type of a fit, you can't use, any kind of like oil's not good enough. You need an actual barrier, but it's cool. It's like, they're like race guns, because race guns, you have to use like grease on them. So
what else has been going on, man, since you've been on? You've been making some announcements, it looks like, on the social media there.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just like, I've been talking about it, or everybody's, I don't know. I didn't really have that much fun of a time on the last round of Monster Garage, just because, shitty production company and marginal people that just don't really care about what they're doing. And it's like kind of the way television and that stuff is made nowadays. And Discovery kind of used me to launch their whole Discovery Plus app. And they used that, didn't greenlight any other shows. Mine was the only one, and used that to buy AT&T and HBO and stuff for.
Well, I'm sure you were a smart negotiator and got all of that online money too. Didn't you get a portion of all that?
No, hell no. They like, I don't know. There's enough negative, I'm just a doer. So like TV from day one, 1999, I've done everything. I like, it's all my shot ideas. It's all my content ideas. What I'm building is my ideas. Music, how the acts play out. All that stuff is all stuff I've been heavy-handed in. Just, I think, from touring with bands and being around video shoots with like Anton Corbin and stuff in the early 90s, taught me a lot of stuff. So like, that's like, so, and then that's the way it's been for everything. I always just like dig in, like, okay, we're going to build this. Let's build a DeLorean hovercraft, but instead of just doing the same stuff we did before, let's put a jet engine in it. Like, they immediately see like a jet engine for 45 grand. Like, oh, it's too much. How are we going to do it? It's just, no one wants to spend the money or the time or the effort to do anything difficult on TV, and I think that's, you look at, they don't want to wait for production. They don't want to wait. Drama is always going to happen in the nature of the shop. They want to force everything and fake everything, and kind of like that Pilgrim Films way of doing stuff, or like Kindicket Design. You look at how their shows are. You're like, come on, everybody, let's go to the go-kart track. That just means production doesn't have any ideas, and there's no real work happening, and there's nothing to actually film. So let's do stupid stunts to like fill it. just so we can fill our episode orders. And I just like, I'm really tired of like arguing, so many people that I've introduced on TV first, and man, I've really had to fight for it. Like guys like Indy and Larry, I put them on TV first for Motorcycle Mania 2. And I asked Discovery, hey, can we take this friend of mine, Indy and Larry? He's a really cool guy. Not a lot of people know who he is just in like the motorcycle industry. And like, no, we don't have the budget. We can't pay for that. So I paid for everything, paid for his whole trip to Sturgis, paid to ship his bike from Long Beach, paid to ship it from Sturgis back to New York, and then paid for his hotel and everything else just to have him on the show. And then all of a sudden Discovery like wants to do as soon as I do that, then they're like, oh yeah, we need to do his own show with him, and it's like, I'm just tired of pushing so hard for stuff for other people. And I just figured I should do it myself. And in the early 2000s, we had a kind of a fan club site called Chopper Dogs. And this is pre-social media, where we had 20,000 people paying $9.95 a month for original content, videos. We produced all this stuff with Garage Magazine and like Chopper Dogs videos and girls and bikes and hot rods and all this stuff just for a membership only site. And so I'm just taking that whole backend and server and all that infrastructure that I own and applying it towards my own network. And, I signed Paul Sr. I'm going to do a show with him, and Billy Lane's going to do a new show. We're bringing back Will Castro, which a lot of people have raised eyebrows at, but Will is kind of the OG, like celebrity builds, and he's got like a great list of interesting builds that I think people have forgotten about or never seen, with like Jay-Z, Beyonce, Busta Rhymes, LL Cool J, P. Diddy, all these kind of A-list hip hop celebrities. And now he's going back and, like LL Cool J's first car he ever bought when he started making money was an Audi 5000. And so he found that original car and is like restoring it and updating it and doing some stuff to it. And like, he's one of the chicks from Salt and Pepper. He found her like 911 and is redoing it. And I just think that's interesting stuff, yeah, it's not like what we do or you guys do, where it's like a bunch of super heavy, race car aircraft style fab work. But I think it's interesting, and I think it's people will watch that for the character factor and to see, that kind of celebrity appeal. I hate saying that word, but I think
the fan base would be different. And you got to open yourselves up to a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I'm not really smart enough to know I can't do it, so fuck it, I'm just going to do it.
That's what I've always said. That's the only way I've ever gotten.
I hired the ex-vice president of Discovery and A&E, a guy named David McKillop, to kind of be the president and run the nut and bolt production side of stuff. And then I'm just focused right now on creative, like putting together a list and blocks of really, really great shows. I'm going to do that American Craftsman show, which we've already started on, where kind of when I went and learned how to make Damascus with Jerry Fisk and all that stuff. So
before we get too much in the creative and in some of the shows, I don't want to glaze past the nuts and bolts of how do you just create a network? What goes into being like, it's not a YouTube channel. This is a network. And like you said, a subscriber base and stuff like that. It's a massive list of, an undertaking.
It's changing the business model because everything now, even YouTube, is all advertiser based. YouTube wants to sell ads, and they want to use you and your content to sell ads that they make the majority of the money on. They have like YouTube Red where they sell subscriptions to get rid of ads, but they're still ads. They're still advertising all over. And I just want to get rid of that. And it's not really going to be for everybody, but it's going to be guys like us like this. There's really nothing, there ain't shit for us to watch on TV, and I think it's like, I don't know, me and my wife were like watching 90 Day Fiance. There's literally nothing but bottom feeder, like competition.
I tell you, there's a show on the Love After Lockup. I mean, if you've never watched that, that is
I just told you the only
Your
thing
recommendations are routinely horrible.
only thing I've been watching is fucking Outer Banks because I like the treasures, you know. But yeah, it would be great, man, to have something
that
that's
you're into.
Yeah, that I'm really into. Would that live on like a streaming service, or will that be on?
It'll be our own. We have our own website. We'll have it in the App Store, and then we have we'll have it in working on with Samsung to get it loaded on new TVs.
It'll be 4K and all that high def, everything.
Oh yeah, all the best of the best. Like we're working on a new show that I don't really want to talk about because people will copy it, but it's like I just want to do cool stuff like I've always done and like I've done for everybody else. I'm just doing it. And it's crazy because McKillop and I got McKillop fired from Discovery like 4 or 5 times.
And he came to work for you.
Yeah, he was my network EP for Discovery, for Monster Garage and all the documentaries and stuff I did. And he got canned for like sticking up for me a bunch of times. And I'm like, that's the dude that I want to run my stuff because he's not afraid to like stand side by side with me. And, even if his job's on the line, he's still going to go for what he does right. And, we have done a lot of hit shows together and a lot of good stuff. And, McKillop's background, you should read his bio. Like he's awesome. The guy's done some really, really great stuff. And plus he's just a neat dude. Like he's one of those guys, like, you want to go for a ride in my trophy truck? He's like, fuck yeah, let's go. Like, then after he's like, I seriously thought I was going to die. Like, like something like he'll be scared to do something, but he'll do it anyway, and like, the tricky part about all of it is we're a publicly held company. So we're going to do, doing all of our evaluation and all that stuff for investors right now. And so we have a ton of interest, and I think we're trying to raise $10 million. That's what we put. And I think it's pretty modest for a project like this. And I think we should be fully funded by the end of this month. Knock on wood.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah. And I'm not this isn't a money-making thing or anything like that. I just want to do it and I don't know. I think it's a little bit of ego trying to prove a point that like, look, motherfuckers, I've been doing this shit all along. Like
if you just listened.
Everybody else has taken a lot of credit for what I do and my hard work and all that stuff and no more. Like I want to do it for myself and do it for our investors and do it for basically the members, the people, this isn't just like you click on it and pay every month and you never hear from it again. No, you're like entering a club. Like you get access to stuff that nobody else gets to see. It'll have like a live component in it. And I think it's like members get like a t-shirt and they get exclusive stuff, where just like we did Chopper Dogs. I want to make it really, really the people that are actually plunking down money every month. That's who's bankrolling this thing. So I'm 100% obligated to them, and I think and I want to give them the content they want. And if we put something on that, hey, this sucks, it's terrible, then we're going to really listen. I'm not, no politics, no wokeness, no nothing. It's just, I just want to put some stuff on that I think I like to see it. So I think people will want to see it.
Are you going to do any 2A content or any of the, guns and shooting stuff? Or is it going to be strictly, motorcycle cars and more of that kind of genre?
I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. You talk about woke. I mean, that's a difficult thing to put out there nowadays.
Well, it's difficult, but there's a lot of shows out there. I'm sure Jesse's aware too. If you watch, like, that's the kind of stuff I'm into and try to watch any of that, there's some really bad shows out there.
The turning point for me, hang on, let me get some ammo.
Just so anybody that's listening now, you've definitely got to check this one out on YouTube so you can actually watch Jesse hand assemble, a custom built 1911.
So in the middle of filming Monster Garage, this is kind of the turning point when I knew that, like, hey, I'm not cut out working for someone in this. I've had my own production company. I've done a lot of shows. I produced all of Monster Garage. My own production company has done some really, really great shows like History of the Chopper, and which basically kind of jump-started the whole Born Free craze, is off that 2-hour special I did. And I was in the middle of filming. We were doing that stupid wood burning Corvette. And in the middle of all of it, on the build team, there was the black girl her name's Jasmine. And she's a line mechanic at the Audi dealership in Atlanta, Georgia. So badass, sweet girl, single mom. Well, we had two guys on the build team that were kind of, they're these two twin brothers and they're a little like, not overbearing, but they're just trying to get everybody to do everything for them. Fine. So I jumped in and started making the burner and all this stuff. And they like gave her a list of stuff. And you got to do this and the wiring and all that stuff. Well, day 2, she kind of had a meltdown and started crying. And, like, hey, she's a unicorn. She's female. She's a person of color. And she's a mechanic at a dealership. So, like, if anybody I want to make it, I want it to be her. And so I tried to talk to her and she wasn't good. So I called on episode number 3 was the limo fire truck. And on that episode was this big, giant 6'2" black lady named Lisa Lejean. And she teaches welding at LA Trade Tech. And I called her, I said on FaceTime, I said, hey, Lisa, and gave her the rundown of who the girl was and what she was going through. I go, will you talk to her? And she Lisa wasn't really sweet with her, but said, hey, you need to buck the fuck up. And this is your chance. And everybody's going to be watching you. And you don't want to be the one that fails because of any number of reasons that people could use as an excuse. Well, she talked her off the ledge. Jasmine sucked it up and then got, put her head down and just got to work and got it done. And she ended up saving the day at 11 o'clock at night when we were trying to get it done. She took the starter apart, fixed it. We didn't have another one and got the car running, ended the build, made it. Everybody got their tools. Well, when it came to editing and doing all the back end stuff, Discovery wanted to edit all that stuff out. And Discovery told me it was racist that I gave her extra help and not anybody else because I only did it because she was black.
And that's an interesting take on racism.
Yeah. And I said, you know what? You guys can get fucked because if you take that shit out of the show, you take me out of the show and I'm gone. I'll walk right now and never come back. And I ended up fighting. They changed it around and edited it and they ended up leaving it back in. But the fact that when you're in a shop or a garage or anything, and even on a TV show, my job is to get all these motherfuckers' heads pointed in the right direction and work. And I don't care what color they are, where they're from, anything. And if there's a girl that's a badass mechanic and she's having a hard time and crying, hey, you got to it's no different than anybody else. I've had guys throw fits and throw shit and quit and stuff like that. And I'll try, if I really need them and they're needed, I'm going to talk them off the ledge. If they're irrelevant to the build process and not really pulling their own weight, then fuck them. We'll do it without them. But this one girl, I really wanted to make it and she was sweet and she deserved extra help and she deserved what the lengths that I went to and the fact that they didn't see, that or thought that it was racist or something to help her, they didn't. It's just it's an overall view of a network at the big picture in life. And it's just I just kind of made up my mind right then. It's I don't really want to be a part of this anymore. If they're not gonna if anywhere in the world should be colorblind and gender blind or anything like that, it's a shop. Hey, when chips are down and you're trying to get stuff done, who cares? What, everybody's got to help each other and work as a team and camaraderie. And if one person is falling off and not, feeling it or feeling like they can't do it. And the way she was feeling wasn't at all about, it wasn't about the way anybody was treating her. Yeah, the guys were lumping a lot on her. It was all internal. She was stressed that she wasn't going to be able to do it. And she wasn't going to be able to live up to the expectations. And she couldn't do it. She wasn't skilled enough. It was so riddled with self-doubt that it's like, man, my job as a boss and a leader, and whatever I am on that TV show, like my job is to talk her off the ledge and do whatever I can to make it so she knows that she's badass and she can do it. And so, that it's just, I don't know. I didn't plan on talking about that stuff, but it's kind of the turning point when I realized like I need to do it on my own. People need to see that, I think racism and all that stuff, it exists on this little microcosm of social media, but in real life, when you're in a shop and you have to work with someone that their face doesn't look the same as yours, you don't care. You just want to get stuff done. You want them to get stuff done, and
I think that's well said, man. I mean, everybody's trying to get something done. You're pushing the car or the bike or the gun or whatever the hell it is the most important thing. Yep. Nobody gives a shit if you're green, black, yellow, female, male, whatever the hell it is. You're pushing to get. It's for the customer,
right?
It's for the customer, for your reputation, for your shop's reputation. You want to build the best fucking thing you can, and you want the best people to do it.
Yeah, and Monster Garage has always been kind of that. It's equal playing field for everyone. Like it's the first TV show to have any kind of trans on that show. We had Pippa Gardner, who was Philip Gardner, the illustrator for Car and Driver magazine. He transitioned. He was 50 years old and transitioned into a female. And I'm just like, all right, cool. Can you weld? Let's go. Like, I don't really care, and that when they start to like try to control programming so they don't appear one where I'm done. Like that's when I knew I just need to do it myself. And it's funny because McKillop and I keep having these milestones because we're putting production together and format and all this stuff. And man, we'll have a great idea. And then I'll call him. And then I'm just like, holy shit, we don't have to like beg for permission anymore to do this. We could just do it. Like, okay, cool. I want to have Godzilla movies on every Saturday morning. All right, cool, done. Like, what I mean? Like,
but people like seeing that. That's the that's the difference.
Yeah, and it's like, I really get the overall impression, with Discovery, History Channel, all the networks, Viacom, Fox that I've been involved with, they really think people like us are fucking idiots.
Oh yeah, dude, we've said
they really think like me doing shit like this or welding or whatever, that I'm like a mouth breather. And, I'd be so much smarter if I was like I could write code or something like that.
Yeah, you're like one step above shoveling shit.
Yeah.
which that in itself is a skill.
Yeah. If you do it good.
It's like, I think like for years I've been trying to convince these network people that like of ideas and things I want to do, and I don't know. I think maybe it's that pattern of like pitching stuff to a network and then they buy it and they bankroll it and all that stuff. Well, take all that out of the equation, make my own format and pitch the stuff myself in my own mind, and then put it on and watch it, because I haven't had television wise, I haven't had a lot of misses.
Yeah.
I've been lucky to do some shows that are some pretty big hits and pretty big viewership and all that stuff just out of my own head. And I think that's another reason why I'm pushing to do this, is like to prove to myself that this is something that I'm skilled at also. Like I'm also like, I can make a gun or a bike, or I can make a gas tank, or I can forge stuff and all that stuff. But I also can put together and build a TV show and build something that's interesting to people watch, and then kind of tricks people, teaches them stuff without even them knowing they're learning something.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that like people that excel in what you do, like the stuff we do, I hate to say we've got like a superpower to sound like arrogant or cocky, but generally I feel like when you have that creative skill set, you can do a lot of things better than a lot of people,
Like looking at it from a creative standpoint.
Yeah, like the TV stuff's a prime example. Like
that skill set / chip on your shoulder.
Yeah, right, and it fuels you a little bit. But there's some pretty good TV show stuff out there in the automotive world, but we've been like offered, I mean, I don't fucking probably 24 TV shows over the years. Never seeked it out to just that we've wanted to do it. Every single time. It's the same story.
Like they're reading from the same script.
Yeah. How many cars can you build? How quick can you do it?
It's all a pattern, and all of it's terrible. You know, I basically cut this whole groove that didn't exist. And then I've been like staying in the same groove for 24 years. And it's finally like, okay, quarter century's coming up. Am I going to still stay in the groove, or am I going to do my own thing? You know, cut a new groove again and do something where it's like, you know, I have the freedom, you know, have the budget and the freedom to do what I want to do.
What's the most pissed off you've ever been at a production, either on set or in a meeting or something?
Oh, dude, I hate even talking about this dude. One of the producers of Monster Garage, this guy named Tom McMahon, he just killed himself like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, damn.
Dude, on St. Patrick's Day. But me and that guy used to go round and around and fight. And really, really good guy. I love the dude, but I think I just crashed in NASCAR. I had, you know, I just had surgery, shattered my ankle and broke my tibia, and like, but I'm still at Monster Garage working and building something that week because production schedule. And he like, there was this kid named Tyler that lived around the corner from Monster Garage, and he used to ride. He was like only 7 years old, and he used to ride his bike over there. And he had leukemia. He had cancer. And so kind of all the guys at the shop and everybody, we'd go by and see him and see his mom, and, you know, just a sweet kid. And so I wanted to put him on an episode. The jet boat that we flipped upside down, I wanted him to he was going to come down on that build and like, come on, you can go for a ride. I'll put 2 seats in it. And so the whole build all week was working on a second seat for him. And McMahon was trying to pull me out of the studio. I was on crutches. I couldn't walk, but I'm still there trying to hammer some metal and make stuff happen. And McMahon just being a dick about it. Just like, come on, we need to go down the street and film this. I'm like, dude, I didn't tell him anything that was going on. Nothing with the kid. Well, the kid passed away that week. And so he couldn't make it to the thing. So I really made it a point. Like, I really wanted to finish this and finish it with the seat for him. And I tried every possible way to explain to McMahon, like, hey, like, you know, please just let me finish it. I'll explain it in the end. And he was just being a dick about it. And like, he wouldn't get close enough to me so I could hit him. but I was on crutches.
You get a little extra reach then.
I remember taking a water bottle and just squirting water at him. Like, just because I tried to grab him a bunch of times and I couldn't get him and I couldn't get up. You know, it was like stationary, just sitting there. And I think that was one of the most pissed times I was. But
piss you off more dealing with like some of the network guys, or when you're doing something like Monster Garage, dealing with some of the like huge egos, pains in the asses? You had to have some interesting characters on there.
Yeah, I think this last round of Monster Garage we did was a little bit different. I think people are more savvy to TV, and like, you know, I think people came before a Monster Garage, and there's probably people that like wanted to fight me or stuff like that, but there wasn't a firm understanding of how television worked or reality TV was. So they're kind of wide eyed, and they'd come in and they'd see me, and I'm like, oh, I guess I'm not going to fight him because he's probably bigger than I thought. And you know, like, but this last one, man, there was some people that just didn't do anything on the build. It's one thing if you're mouthy, but if you're mouthy and lazy, then it just doesn't.
Tell us about Paul Senior's show. What's that going to be like? We had a great time with him when he was on here, and respect the hell out of him.
Well, you know, he didn't get on TV until he was 50. So, and I think everybody's had their fill of seeing him yell at his kid.
Yeah.
You know, I think we can, if you want to Google that or find it, you really need to see that. You can see it.
Yeah.
And I just think him and I have spent our wives are really good friends, and him and I've spent some time here at the compound, and it just like he's a neat dude.
Yeah, he is.
And he's had a pretty interesting life, 50 years before TV, and like as a he had a whole ironworking business and in Manhattan in the city, and doing all these Hasidics had all these apartment buildings that they took over, and then all the Hasidic families would live in there, and they were having a real problem with like kids falling out the windows because big 25-story building, and there's no ironwork, no grates on the windows, and they'd open the windows in the summer because it's hot as hell, and then kids would fall out and die. And I just was like, I need pictures, let me see, I just know really interesting story about him. And I think he's like such an iconic dude, and, part of Americana now, that I just think, kind of it's later in life. And like, I just think it's, and again, stuff that I'm kind of interested in. I want to know more, and I want to do stuff where his life is now, and kind of, I thought he was going to be upset at the name Senior Living, but
the name is phenomenal.
He kind of just, which I think is great. Like, but he kind of just glazed right over, and he's cool. And, also too, like these Discovery likes to like double dip. I think I found the problem here. Discovery, like with Richard Rollins, that guy begged to be on TV forever with Discovery. And they, to the point where they make him sign that Jesse clause in the everybody that's on Discovery, Discovery makes them sign a Jesse clause in their contract. And that's where they get like any uptick in business with merch sales, or this bird's building a nest in here. You want to see it?
Yeah.
I figured they have this big old studio light that's set up as a strobe. He's inside there in them right now in the lawn building a nest. What are you doing? You see him in there?
You see him moving around there.
He's moving in.
He's
gonna come out hot.
He's gonna be shitting all over everything in your shop, dude. It's cute now.
Actually, I don't know what was I talking about.
You're talking about the
Jesse
clause with Senior.
So after I came in and kind of made all the money and everything, Discovery makes all their talent sign this contract that they get 3% or so of your uptick in business. So you do a TV show, and then plus they own the brand, like Discovery and Pelagian. Pilgrim owns like part of Gas Monkey and all that stuff. And it's just crazy to sign that type of stuff away, and I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to make good shows and good content. So I want guys like Will and Senior and Billy, I want them to make money. I want this thing to be like a profitable thing for them, where they can go back to selling T-shirts and stuff like that, and so like all the brands like Senior Living and all that stuff, Senior will own all that stuff.
It's Senior by himself, I feel like, is a huge hit, because when you see him in Orange County Choppers, all the crap with Paul Jr. and all the other stuff, it kind of like gives you a warped view of who he is. But after talking to him, that dude's badass.
Yeah, he's a badass.
Yeah. And so we're bringing back also too, we're going to bring back biker, like called Chopper Kings, which is like a biker build off type of motorcycle competition show. And so Senior, Billy, and I will be the judges of it. And that'll have a live TV component, like the competition. And I think it's kind of like good to give some of these younger builders kind of let them go at it. Let them build stuff, and us be the judge of it.
Hey, who was that kid came by the shop?
Colt Wrangler.
Jesse, you ever come across that kid? Colt Wrangler?
No.
He works for Revival now, I think.
Oh, he does?
Yeah. But he had it. Dude, first of all, the baddest name, first and last name, Colt Wrangler.
He's a fucking cowboy, right? He rides rodeo.
Yeah. His brother.
Allen for Revival.
Yeah, he works for Revival now.
You know that dude only has one eye.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, every time I see him, I make him take his eye out. He's like, I don't want him. Shut up.
Yeah, check out Colt Wrangler on Instagram. Young kid. He came by here, headed to one of the Milwaukee shows, and brought his bike by me. Fucking badass. Yeah, he's doing. It's cool to see, like you said, younger guys like that just are craftsmen that need that. You
need the stage or the platform to get out there to develop
off
the customer and legitimize the business. But yeah, it's cool that you're giving those guys that opportunity.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's interesting too. If people want to watch that too, You
can give an opportunity to Richard Rawlings. He could use a new show.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, man, didn't go anywhere with that one. I thought I was going to
left that bait hanging.
You're throwing a lot.
You should give him a job at the shop, making frames.
But just keep selling them to him. We'll build him. He can.
Yeah, so he's the expert fab guy.
So when does this new network? When is it kicking off? When can we see it?
We're shooting the launch for summertime.
That'll be sweet.
You're starting with the Craftsman style show.
Yeah, it's Craftsman, like American Craftsman, and that's another one. We did that pilot for History Channel 10 years ago, and I went to Jerry Fisk, who's a national treasure knife maker, learned how to make Damascus, and then went to a woodworker, and then the show was just great. It's just working and like kind of learning skills from these guys and then taking it back here and like applying it to a project. And Louis Fry is the woodworker that we went to. And History gave notes on it. They said, do you think you could have like a sidekick or something on the show, or someone that you could yell at? And I just split. Like, all right, thanks for taking the call.
You got anybody doing any hand engraving on the show or digging into that trade at all?
It's going to be really difficult to film that stuff just because it's so 30 hours per inch, so it's so labor intensive and like it just takes forever to do it.
That Melissa M's done some stuff for you, haven't she? I don't remember her last name.
Yeah, she did one pair of guns, but her style is okay. It's a little bit two-dimensional, and I kind of like 3D like relief stuff. Like I really like her and like her style, but my preference is more these European engravers that like it's borderline sculpture,
Yeah, I went out and did 3 or 4 days engraving with a dude in Missouri named, I think it was Ray Covers. Does that name ring a bell? You ever heard that dude?
No.
Pretty accomplished, badass guy. I mean, he does some really, really sick stuff. But that was that a wake up call to like, holy shit, this is hard to do. It's probably about like the guys that come in that want to shape sheet metal and like I want to make panels. Like, well, good luck. You spend the next 5 to 10 years figuring out how to do it. Panels, but it was cool though, man. It was crazy.
Guys that want to do work on a Yoder, but then they hold the metal and they're like,
oh yeah, it just takes them for a ride.
Yeah, they're like scared.
But I will say the cool thing about doing it, we're working in a microscope all day, and you're like, this looks like shit. You're so frustrated, and as soon as you step away and you pull that piece out, I'm like, God damn, I could be engraving guns for Jesse. Like this looks badass. Yeah, from you look at it with your eyes.
Yeah, it's crazy money. We're paying $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 per pistol just to do engraving on some of them. So,
man, I can see it though. I mean, you could spend fucking all day just doing like a quarter.
That's crazy.
When did you go do that?
Did that maybe like 4 years ago. I got like a hair up my ass that I needed to learn something new and I spent too much time pointing and not enough time working and wanted to try something different. I had like big hopes of I was going to get the gravers and all the tools and do it, but then like business and life got in the way,
I think it's kind of like pinstriping for me. Like I love, like pinstriping is really cool. I tried it one time and I'm like, yeah, nah, I can't do that.
Dude, I did the same. That was like, Man, when I was like 19, right about the time I was cuffing my jeans and being all greaser looking, I fucking brought a bunch of hoods home, and I like got the one shot and the fucking brushes. That shit's impossible. Impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And most all pinstripers, I don't know if you got the memo, but most pinstripers and upholsterers they're all fucking crazy. You know that, right? Especially upholsterers. You know why?
Upholsterers, no. The pinstriper I can guess because it involves paint.
Huffing.
Upholsterers are sniffing glue all day, every day.
Huh.
Yeah, they're huffers.
Painters are crazy too.
Stay away from the chemicals,
It's the
kids.
fumes then, huh?
Yeah.
So where you headed to next, man? You going to be out at any shows? You doing any big events?
No, my wife's having a baby, so I got to kind of stick around. I can't split. You know, she's due like July 2nd.
Oh shit!
And you got a little granddaughter too. I saw on your Instagram, huh? So you're like family man all over again. How you? That's pretty damn cool.
I never really planned on it, but like I don't know. I thought I was all done having kids, but then like, what else am I going to do? I'm just here, and look, you can see right. This is where I live. There's my house, like right there. So, like, what you know, like, what excuse do I have not to have another kid?
Yeah, yeah, it's probably a good stage in life to do it.
Yeah, and it's actually pretty. I'm excited because it's like, kind of, I don't know. When the other 3 kids were born, you know, I kind of in the middle of heavy filming and tiger by the tail and all that stuff, and it's like now it's like I think I have enough time to like pay attention and like soak it all in and absorb, and it's a boy, so it's like, man, I got so many plans for that kid.
Well, man, that's awesome. Glad you could take the time. I will be checking out the what you got.
I was gonna say I think we should introduce him to the new weapon that we've acquired. See if you can do a Damascus version of that.
Oh yeah, grab that thing and show us.
John Jackson brought it.
Yeah, your buddy John Jackson, the photographer, lives in the van.
Mm-hmm.
He brought us
down by the river.
He brought us this. I don't know if you've ever seen anything quite like this weapon wise, but this is a pair of gold-plated brass knuckles that is also a slingshot. I mean, why has nobody ever thought about this before? This is fucking awesome.
If you could forge one of those,
if you already have one, I'm going to be disappointed.
John probably got it from him.
I bet he did.
We're gonna play. Who's got the cooler weapon then?
No, we were just thinking like you could add this to your.
This would be a great product.
Your product line.
Oh shit! Gold-plated AK.
Yeah, let's play.
Yeah.
Ooh, and ivory, huh?
Oh, that's fucking awesome,
dude.
Yeah.
That's sick.
You win show and tell today.
Screenshot too.
Is that your gun?
Yeah.
El Chapo's gonna be coming looking for that thing.
It's fucking awesome.
I've always wanted a gold-plated AK.
Yeah,
there was one at Second Amendment. Remember?
Yeah.
At the gun store in town. Yeah. Like, man.
It's just
What are you driving, Jeremy? What's your daily driver?
Me, dude. I'm driving either a '77 square body Chevy truck or a quad cab 3500.
What's your embarrassing car that you own, that you drive?
The Uber usually, like, because when the truck, when the truck's on the road and we're hauling a trailer, sending something somewhere, and I have no transportation, and I have a massive business with like almost 100 employees, and I have to take a fucking Uber to wherever I'm going. That's probably the most embarrassing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't get embarrassed. Man, I like driving. Like, I've got a thing.
Enjoy a good shit box.
Yeah, me and Josh were just talking. I've got a thing for like low quality vehicles because I'm not like a maintenance guy, a cleaning guy. I like.
You need a low mileage Toyota Previa. You need to put that and just be done with it and drive it.
I do.
You wouldn't care about it too much, but you'd.
My daughter has a Prius, and she just loves it. It's like it's not, And so she went away to college. She got a scholarship, so she's in college in New York right now. And so like her car is paid off, and so I didn't want to drive it, and it was kind of like used it as my airport car that I just leave it at the airport when I go, and then I don't have to get a ride ever, and no one's ever going to mess with it. Well, then I was like, well, what am I going to get now that she's gone? So I got the best car ever.
What'd you get?
I got a Hyundai Santa Cruz.
Is that the El Camino one?
Yeah.
What the fuck sparks that vehicle purchase?
Dude, you imagine the stories locally around.
Oh, dude, I'll bet Jesse. Jesse James probably got the most badass car.
That car's, I've only had it a little while. That car's almost got me in so many fights. Like,
why?
Yeah, with soccer moms, probably.
Who gets in a fight
no
with
one has any, I think no one has any respect for it. They think it's like someone, the same person that's driving like a Subaru Outback or something. And like, I was taking my wife to the doctor the other day and like, okay, the exit was coming up in downtown Austin and First Street. Like the exit comes up really fast. And so there's like a Super Duty in the slow lane. I'm in the fast lane. So I just gapped it and like changed lanes gradually, like a 3-lane lane change in front of this dude. The dude probably didn't even have to hit his brakes or nothing. Like I gassed it and didn't impede his progress. Dude, they got all crazy in the E lane and passed me. And I'm like, all right, cool, car fight. Let's do it.
Dude, this is a TV show right here.
I went and passed him back. And then the dude like pulled up next to me and like called me a bunch of names and stuff, is yelling at me. And then he like opened his console like he had a gun in there. And I'm in there with my wife, and my wife's like the best shooter I've ever met. And it's like, bro, you picked the wrong Santa Cruz. And so I like got out. I'm like, let's go. Come on. Get it out. Let's get that gun out. But it's like, then I realized like, oh, it's not me. It's the car. Like,
skin that smoke wagon.
Dude, people
Look at Jesse James impersonator.
Yeah. People see like a fucking big dude all tatted up get out of a Hyundai. They're going to be calling the cops, reporting that thing's stolen.
But just think, I'm going the opposite. Like I'm thinking about, people running around Austin, and fans and stuff. So you've got the guy that comes home. He's like, tell my wife, you're not going to believe I saw Jesse James.
This bitch in a Hyundai.
Really? What was he driving? He was driving this Hyundai. And she's like, yeah, well, okay, whatever. And he's like, no, I'm serious. Like he rolled the window down. He like gave me a wave. Nobody believes that story.
Yeah. You go the other way. Like everyone's saying Austin turned into such a hipster town. Like it's so hipster. Jesse James is driving a Hyundai.
Yeah, it doesn't help the argument.
It's made in Alabama,
Roll Tide.
Yeah.
What color socks do you wear with the Tivas?
No socks.
How about for hot rods? What have you been out of all the stuff you got? What do you drive the most?
My daily is that I got rid of my 55 truck and got that. I got a 49 Chevy, like 5-window. That I'll show it to you. It's out front of the shop. And it's like, it's not even, hopefully, I think the Wi-Fi will work out here.
Oh, yeah. It's a good color combo.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, and it was some old man did it back in Pennsylvania. And like, it's not even 12 volt, it's 6 volt. I love it.
3 on the tree.
Yeah.
There's something fun about driving those. We got that old 67.
Well, and the
Step
hill,
side
you've been here
that
to
way.
the shop and seen the way the hill country is.
Yeah.
Like you can drive, you couldn't drive this in LA like that.
No.
You know?
That thing's clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it won like Gettysburg, like the American Classic Car Association, Gettysburg, and then I think won Davenport or something, won one of the big shows in like 2013, and then the old man just put it in storage.
Yeah.
And then I've been gradually just doing stuff to it. I don't think I'm even going to lower it or anything.
It sits
I
pretty
ordered
damn good.
Well, I got that coal truck back, that Salinas Boys truck, so I'm going to make that more of a hot rod and more make it so it runs and handles good.
Bubble top you posted the other day was fucking sweet. That blue one. Did you get that from Boris at Street Machinery?
Yeah, I traded him a 62, like a 409 Biscayne, a 63 SS, like just a roller, and a what else? Something else for it. Yeah, I love it. And we just kept it stock frame and everything. I'm going to put a LT4 in it with a 4L80 and a 9-inch and just kind of, it's such a cherry car. It's been painted like one time. That's it.
Not like your Miata, but it's pretty sweet.
That's for you.
I mean,
right
it's
there, buddy.
dude. Okay, you gotta. I'm telling you, the Santa Cruz.
he's trying to make us believers.
What's the towing capacity on that thing? You could probably.
All right, Richard Rollins has got the Dodge commercials. I think you're working the Hyundai commercial route.
My wife shoots all these gun matches in all these crazy locations. So if I take the TRX, yeah, it's comfortable to drive, but it'll use like $1,200 in gas.
Yeah,
and it's okay, cool. I can afford the gas, but I just hate stopping every 180 or 200 miles to get gas. Like it's just super annoying. Well, this thing gets like, I don't know, 30 or 40. But I noticed it like when I'm driving it, like the lane assist stuff is like super aggressive. Like I did no research. I just bought it like, oh, okay, cool. I want that one. I'll get one of those, whatever. Turbo 4-cylinder. Okay, cool. I want that one. And I noticed the lane assist is like really fighting me. I'm like, what? Dude, come on. Like, how do I shut that off? And so I was going through the manual. It's got an AI feature like auto drive, like driver assist. Dude, I can drive it from here all the way to the airport and back and never touch anything. Like it's like you just set it, you set the distance of the car and you just press the button and it drives itself. Like it's crazy, which, you know, I normally wouldn't be into that, but for a Hyundai Santa Cruz, I don't even really care if I drive it or not. Like
you're a soon to be new father. I mean, you've got to start making responsible decisions. So you've got yourself a new Hyundai and something that's. Is there a button on it that can make it look cooler? I didn't know that was in the manual.
I was thinking about. Dude, I'm like, think I'm losing it. Like I was looking at the back of it because it says like, this is after I almost got in a fight with the dude and the guy like tried to pull a gun on me. I was like, can I make some kind of like jerry can rack or something that goes on the tailgate and anodize it black so it covers the whole Santa Cruz logo?
It needs to do some type of like, KC light bar or something like that. Make it like a little bit of brat.
Don't act like you. As soon as we get off the phone, you're gonna look up Hyundai Santa Cruz.
Dude, I'm already thinking about Googling it. Yeah.
I think if anything deserves a gold pair of truck nuts.
Let's just hold on. We can.
Yeah,
I
gotta
think we
see
can
one.
do this
Pull,
right now.
pull one of them up because I gotta.
They got some kind of cool lines to them.
I got the desert tan one.
What did you?
Then I
say?
blacked out the whole.
Wait till you
front
see
end.
it.
Oh, so you've modified this thing? Like
Yeah, I put a 2-inch lift, like the lift kit all the way around, and a little bit bigger tires. And like,
Who makes aftermarket parts for these things?
You're
nobody.
not typing anywhere.
So what is a lift kit? Is that like it doesn't have leaves? You just put big like coil spacers
Just
or something in it?
Spacers, yeah. It's an awesome little car. And I got it too, actually, because my wife doesn't drive. She doesn't have a driver's license. So I got it so something easy for her to drive. I didn't want to put my miles on Sonny's Prius.
Is there a West Coast Choppers sticker on it yet?
So that's what it looks like.
Yes.
It's just, he's laughing. It's just,
Yeah, but now like close your eyes and kind of picture it with a blacked out grill and a lift kit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Jesse
levels
James
sitting a little
driving.
higher in front.
That was the first thing I noticed. It's got too much rake. You know, you got to get the nose
Yeah.
up.
This is
You've got kind of a thing.
Dude, and it was like $34,000 for the best one, like the one with like the bigger motor and the touch screen and all that stuff. It was like $34,000. And it's made in America. So it's like,
that's important.
I don't know.
You got a thing for
It's
those
fun.
body styles though. You did it's like the Rampage that you did.
It's
like
not a mini truck, it's a sports pickup.
sports.
And I have my trophy truck registered as a Chevy Love.
Is that for insurance purposes? It's like $1,500
No,
value.
you have to pick some kind of model that it's based on because it has to be based on a production vehicle. I'm like, yeah, it's a Chevy Love.
dude. I know you're probably getting pitched ideas all the time, but I've got, just because I'm a huge fan and I loved Motorcycle Mania. Was it either 2 or 3 when you and Kid Rock took the trip? I think that was from a show wise, that was fucking entertaining as hell. Just imagine Jesse James and Kid Rock in the Hyundai Santa Cruz doing like a cross country adventure in the Hyundai. You're already getting in fights just in Austin.
That's true.
Yeah, using our Waze app, avoiding all the cops.
It'd be a great show.
Dude, you want to hear a cool show idea that I had for Discovery a couple of years ago? There's this guy when I did security for bands. This guy Manfred is this like Russian dude that kind of was my assistant on the road, mostly for when I was in Germany, just because he spoke German, Russian, everything, so he could kind of be my liaison with the security in Europe. Well, he works for Putin and has worked for him for like, I don't know, 25 years or something. And so he's in they're in a bike club called the Night Wolves that Putin's in. Well, they invited me and Kid Rock to come do like a motorcycle mania and ride across Russia and like ride with the Night Wolves and meet Putin. And I'm like, cool, we got to go to like some blacksmiths and like, let's see some Russian like fab stuff. And Discovery completely shut it down. We had full clearance, like with everything. And just, yeah, I don't think people will want to watch that. I'm like, all right, cool.
Imagine what that footage would be worth today.
Jeez, I like the name.
The
like,
Night Wolves?
They got those majestic like truck stop wolf t-shirts. Like,
It's not too far off from that.
Should I just watch Kid Rock today? Just put that video out there, him lighting up that like a whole bunch of Bud Light cans, just shooting the shit out of the.
Oh, really?
With a auto like AK or something.
What else? What's happening at the shop? What are you guys working on?
Man, we're working on a little bit of everything. We got a bunch of these cool legend trucks, these square body trucks that we've been working on for a long time. Finally got a big run of those, like close to getting them all on the roads. We should have, about 8 of those trucks ready to roll.
Yeah, and you doing them all the same, or are you doing them for customers?
They're all for customers, but so they ended up all being like patina trucks that are like killer original survivors, but all 4x4 chassis. LT4s or LT1s, so we're going to try to get those all wrapped up, maybe make a cruise out to a car show or something, Good Guys show, something like that, early summer.
I don't think I'm going to go to any more of those Good Guy shows. I did like 3. It's just not really my deal.
It's not like a bike show.
It's probably a night and day difference.
Just for starters, it's like all the hot rod custom car motherfuckers, they like get there like super early. They're like there the day before. Like I'm used to biker shit where I get there like 3.
It's a different world, man.
And this I don't know, like there's a handful of cool cars, but then it's just like a sea of like Camaros and Mustangs and like I don't know, just stuff that I don't really want to look at.
Yeah, it's kind of you could see. Obviously, like the heavy hitters, the high end stuff's all in like your builder's choice area, all grouped together. But if you've got the patience or the time, it's usually the cool thing. Like that's the Chevy Love pickup that's got like
wild, and
it's got like Supremes on it or something that's buried in the back parking lot. That's
some day 2 car that's out there that's just nuts. We're gonna be, I think we're gonna be out in Austin probably in about 7-8 weeks, something like that, 8-9 weeks.
What are you guys doing out here?
We got to deliver a car and do a little running around, so we might try to come by.
Why
and
don't
see
you
your new
deliver
shop.
it on Labor Day and come to the car show I have?
When is Labor Day?
Labor Day at the same time.
Yeah, I know, the same time. What's that day?
I don't fucking know.
Let's go shoot this gun and see if it works.
Let's do it.
Give you guys like a bird's eye view.
Hell yeah.
This is why you have to go to the Oil and Whiskey podcast YouTube page.
Yeah, this gun was built and now fired. See, they're going to be awesome or go like horribly wrong.
This is fucking nuts.
Are you shooting the phone?
That's wild.
We didn't get any noise on that one.
Yeah, the phone can't pick up the noise.
Cancels it out.
I think it kind of bugs out the microphone.
Is that a success? Do you know right when you put those together and fire them if it's on the money or?
Oh yeah. Well, I already test fired it and then do it, and completely built it. I already built it and test fired it and like so sighted all in, and then it has to be like built again after engraving and all that stuff. I'll show you.
Oh, that's
sick.
I'm gonna be keeping.
It's all golden. It's like a black oxide finish and then all gold inlay.
That's wicked.
I could never afford it, but I'm gonna be keeping my eye out for that TAC version, the optic ready and the railed. Yeah, that thing's sweet.
Well, I have those almost done, so I owe you guys one pistol. Didn't you guys got your rifle, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you shoot it yet?
We have not. Storing it.
Did you decide?
Storing it at my house in Wisconsin. With my other guns.
We have
rifle.
we have some unique laws here in Illinois as of late. So all of our weaponry is in our domicile in Wisconsin, not here in Illinois.
Yeah, because you guys can't have stuff there.
Yeah, as of recently.
Yep.
Dude, it's a gorgeous gun though, man. Killer work. The thing is sick. What do you recommend putting for an optic on that?
Get an MRO, the Trigicon, for that type of, like the MRO with one of these Unity mounts. That kind of works good, and it's got like a little, I think it's a 1.5 magnification. Yeah. So, and they're pretty awesome, bright red dot.
That's what you just had me get on that honey badger, right?
That exact thing.
Yeah, and you can beat them up. I just put a big Trigicon on getting my 50 cal done.
just over
over
here
the shop
in the corner
with a Navy mount. So,
dude, that with the quick disconnect in the back of the Santa Cruz, that thing right there.
Dude, don't make me walk outside and do a walk around video of my Santa Cruz of all the modifications.
Let's see that dude reach into his glove box.
I want to see the Santa Cruz. If it's right there, show us the fucking thing with the modifications. I want to see the Jesse James's modded out Hyundai Santa Cruz. Do you know how many times we've said Hyundai on this podcast this episode?
You see it over there?
Oh, I can barely see it over there.
Sitting over there all sinister.
Yeah, badass.
Yeah, how come that bird isn't building a nest in that thing? It's probably
fucker knows better.
It's probably the violent horsepower scared the bird.
We could have done taking shots.
You wouldn't have touched it.
I would have given 1,000 shots and never would have got it. Never would have got it.
What's that?
We'll do this thing called taking shots sometimes with guests, and it's a little segment we do. We'll ask a couple of questions. They'll give their answer, and generally we won't like that answer, and we'll give what we think is the truth. Like we'll talk about daily drivers or music they're into or stuff like that. And I was just talking about when you cut out, if we were to have done that, talking about daily driver, in 1 million guesses, I wouldn't have guessed that car. And we're pretty fucking good. Like we've got a 90 to 95% success rate, and there's no fucking way.
The guys at the shop, like, they hate it.
I might have guessed.
But anytime one of their cars takes a shit or something, they need to borrow something. Guess which one they want to borrow?
Yeah,
I might have guessed it, but I wouldn't have said it. I'd be afraid I'd get beat up.
Yeah,
yeah. I got a 1,500 horsepower Duramax H1. I got 1,000 horsepower TRX. I got my 49 Chevy pickup. I got a Bentley. I got my 32 Roadster. I got my 49 Chevy. And then I got a 62 Bel Air bubble top, and at the house, 2022 Santa.
Damn,
that H1 is my favorite. We took a ride in that. You were gracious enough. Yeah, that's my fucking one day. That thing is perfect as it gets.
It's like
I wouldn't change
big brother to your H2 or H3.
Yeah, it's just a little bit bigger than my H3, just a little bit. Yeah,
dude, with all the stuff you've got and the stuff you've built, what's the thing you want? What would you want to seek out, or what do you got your eye on?
I don't know. Well, I kind of want to get my 38 Zephyr done. As soon as I got that Olds that you're doing the chassis for now.
Yep.
And it's the Olds is on the chassis table now, so waiting for you guys to get done. And as soon as that thing's on the frame, then I want to put my 38 Zephyr coupe and get it scanned and everything so we can make a chassis for it. And I'm really excited about that because Zephyrs are such cool cars, and there's so few of them that you don't really get. It's not like looking at a Merc.
Yeah.
Like if you Google 49 or 50 or 51 Mercury, you get like a million. Most of them are bad with like Betty Boop and James Dean wind wings on them. But
what's bad about that?
Well, Chicago style. Like with the music notes and sci-fi.
Route 66.
Yeah. Fucking nailed it.
This car only plays Bill Haley.
Get a little doll.
I don't know. I want to get the Zephyr done, and then I have I got my 64 two-door Chevelle wagon. It's a roadster shop car. I got my Polara that's actually getting some progress done on it.
Nice.
But I don't know I started selling stuff basically because I needed money to put into this network deal and needed working capital to like get apps built, get all this stuff done. So I started looking at it's like, why do I have all these like BS cars and projects and all this stuff laying around, like that Bronco and stuff that I'm probably just have it just to say that I could have it, but I'm not going to drive around a Bronco. I'm just not a Bronco dude.
Yeah, I hear you.
You know, and
Insert
I think
Santa
like
Fe
the
joke.
I stayed away from it. I stayed away from
I
it.
couldn't. It was just floating out there.
I know.
I've actually experienced this whole feeling before because Audi in the like early 2000s gave me like an A6 like Quattro. I had a deal with Audi, and so they would give me cars to drive all the time. And dude, like an Audi wagon, just a basic ass like A6 Avant wagon. Can't believe how many people just automatically think, oh, there's probably some pussy driving that thing.
Most of the time there is.
That's interesting.
Yeah, me and Jesse
like
James have the same car.
That's a win. That's a win for Phil.
You have no idea that because that's what Phil
I'm
drives.
coming out so hot after this.
That's what Phil drives right now. It's an Audi A6 wagon.
It's an RS6
I love
wagon.
it.
I just got rid of
great.
it, so fuck you.
Audis are great cars, but then it's like the other crazy thing, like with the Santa Cruz and with the Priuses especially, is like people have no respect. And Audi more than any other car, I can't believe how many Civics and like just mediocre middle of the road shitbox, you like not, you know, luxury cars, but like Honda Civics and Honda Camrys and little lowered like Integras and all that stuff come by like whoom, whoom, revving their
It's a performance car.
yeah,
Audi.
it's like what the fuck? Like I'm driving this on purpose, not because I have to. Like,
Dude, Phil's RS6 wagon, that thing sits out in front here, and you get millions of dollars of some of the most custom cars ever sitting
That's
out there.
all they give a fuck
People
about.
pull into the parking lot and there's like a whole photo shoot. They're usually kids taking pictures of this wagon.
Yeah.
They're not even looking
that's
at
the way it is with the Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
Dude, Jesse, you always have the badass stuff. Like,
yeah, except it's some chick in like cargo khaki shorts and Tivas
no,
with
it's
their socks on.
It's some dude with like Jesus sandals in a Subaru Forester with like a "I'm with her" sticker on the back. Like, hey, that's really nice.
That's a coexist sticker for
Does
sure.
it come
man.
with the coexist bumper sticker, or do you have to?
Dude, you got to come up with a spin-off of the coexist sticker to put something cool put in the back of that.
They
thing.
have one. They have one that's all gun manufacturers.
I think he just needs a shirt. My pronouns are Santa Cruz.
I don't know if we helped or hurt your reputation with this podcast. But
I think he's solidified.
Yeah.
You know what? If I get a car specifically to leave at the airport, I don't have a problem with it being a Honda or a Hyundai Santa Cruz. Yeah. Did I mention that it's made in America?
It's made in Alabama.
Yep.
It is.
Right there in Josh's home state.
Down in Montgomery.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeehaw.
Well, they put the Subarus together over there in Indiana somewhere too, don't they?
yeah,
That doesn't mean the Subarus are cool.
Yeah.
No.
That
Where do they bring
made-
the hemp in, though,
made-
for those Subarus? Is that's not from Indiana,
I think
right?
they ass mule it in.
They asked me to hemp in for the Subarus. Well, dude, it's been great. I know you got shit to do. I really appreciate it. Where can people check out the new network and the streaming service, all your shit? Where can they go to?
We're going to drop a landing page pretty quick, just as we're just finished, everything because of the FCC. So because we're a publicly traded company with investors and stock and all this stuff right out of the gate, everything has to really be done the right way. So we have really great lawyers working on it. Stuff has to be based out of Delaware and all that stuff. So just as soon as that stuff's done, which hopefully this week, then we've already got the app. The app looks incredible. The app's going to have a social media aspect, kind of like how Chopper Dogs was. I don't want to point anybody to anybody else. I want to have one-stop shopping. So you come here, you watch your favorite show, whether it's like Billy or Senior or me or Chopper Kings or gun stuff or whatever. And you can stay there and like talk about it and have the, basically the social media aspect about it within the app.
That's cool.
You know, and so that's kind of a big underdoing, but we've done it before. You know, we have the background with doing this with Chopper Dogs. So that as soon as all that stuff's done, the app is pretty much done, waiting for the approval process. And then once it's all done, we're going to launch a landing page and start offering people subscriptions. And I don't think it's going to just be like anybody can sign up. Like, you have to apply to get a subscription. Like, we only want the people that like should be there and support us, you know?
Let us know, man. We'll definitely love to
I'll
check it out.
I'll be a subscriber
Absolutely.
if I'm
Yeah, we need to do a show about Jeremy working hard every day in the shop.
Dude, you don't want to see a show of what I do every day. I fucking promise
Trying to
you
figure
that.
out who's stealing toilet paper.
Pretty much. I'd love the
We've
show.
narrowed it down.
Right. I'd love to do the show of me physically building something. I'd be down with that.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's definitely talking to like Jared, who does the show with Troy, you know, the kid that used to work there. Like, Troy to me is the best.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Troy is amazing, but I think the show could be better and it could be more intensive on the work aspect and less on, you know, Jared and I had a really great conversation about like, hey, what opportunities are because that show's buried on Amazon. No one cares about it. And I think how do we remake that show and make it where it's more interesting for us and less like slapsticky Jared, like, oh, look at my relationship with these guys. It's so good. You know, like, yeah, that a little bit of that goes a long way, but I want to see stuff get built. And, you know, you guys know as well as I do that most of the people that are building stuff aren't necessarily the same people that want to be on TV. I think when the people that really want to be on TV, you're going to get like Richard Rollins. You're going to get guys like Texas Metal. You're even going to get guys like Joe Martin. And it's all people committing to projects that maybe their heart isn't really into, but, you know, they're doing it for the sake of television or to the network or whatever. And it's all these really achievable goals. And it's kind of, I don't know. I think, but I really think there's something to be said with Jared and that show with Troy, because I think Troy, to me, you know, Troy's been one of the best builders in the world since I was at Powerhouse by Boyd. And I think, you know, it might be one of those things. And I told Jared this, where I have to step in and kind of help produce a little bit with Troy and like really lay out what I want to see Troy do and want to see those guys do. Because honestly, you know, you could just have Casey or one of those guys like make a center console for a whole episode and just not say anything. Just have him in the shop working and making it and fitting it and shaping it and then, you know, putting the brackets in and stuff. And I think that would be fucking interesting as hell. Would a network think that was interesting? Hell no, because there's no conflict or no fighting or anything like that. But that's what I want. If I could have my dream show with Troy Trepanier, it would be that. It would show stuff actually getting made the Troy way, which I think is incredible. And I think anything else, you're doing a disservice to how great that guy is and how great the guys at that shop are. You know, and that.
Do you think the audience is there to watch that, or do you think the networks have kind of like steered it more mainstream and trying to get the huge audience that doesn't really care and is overlooked, like the hardcore guys that are really into it?
If you think of how it's made, that show is wildly successful. The worst, like,
oh, let's not go. It's not wildly successful. I think only like 80,000 people watch it.
Oh, I like fucking watching it. I like to see them make shit. You know?
I just think, well, a perfect example is when we were doing Outlaw Garage with Pilgrim, with Pelagian. We did a bike on the final episode, and I was building an all copper tank. I made the frame and everything, and they filmed for like a month of me working on the tank and bodywork until they just got tired of it and they just packed up all the gear and split and then didn't do any more episodes. They're like, they just didn't want to wait it out. They didn't know how to stagger the production. Like, hey, you guys leave for a couple weeks, come back. we'll have progress laid out where it's not really jumping ahead, but it's catching all the key stuff and really showing it happen. And, you know, I think if I do a TV show and I don't work and work my ass off, if I'm just standing around as like, hey, hi, I'm Jesse, this is me, look it, I'm making this thing, or these guys are working, let's go over there and watch them. People are going to be pissed. You know, people will not want to watch me in that thing. They want to see me work.
Yep.
Like, they don't care how tired I am. If I have a broken ankle, they don't care. Like, you need to work. You're a lazy ass if you don't work. And I think that's an indicator that people have this real desire to see stuff get built. I mean, really, what put Beers coined it the best. When I took a hammer and a mallet and shot bag in 1999, and I took a piece of annealed aluminum and I hit it for the first time, it's like, that's when TV changed, because I took it and I made the very TV show #1. I took a flat piece of sheet metal and made a gas tank out of aluminum and gas welded it and all that stuff. And that's the first time that type of stuff had been shown on television in any way. And I think I'm not the only dude that's doing stuff like that. And there's a lot of stuff. I'm lucky that I'm a smart ass and mouthy and like will speak my mind, which makes for entertainment, but I also have skills and do stuff. So I'm lucky in that respect. But I think there's a lot of guys, you know, like going back to Troy, like Adam and Casey and Gary and those guys at those shop, those guys are incredible. You know, maybe not the best. They're not like me. They're not going to be, hey, everybody get fucked. You know, like they're not going to
but they built
be
some
that
rad stuff
kind of in your face, but they're, you know, they've kind of carrying this whole fabrication thing forward to a different level. And I think there's a desire to see that type of stuff. Maybe not for everybody, maybe not on a huge mainstream grand scale where it's going to be like American Idol, but with gas tanks, you know, I don't think that's going to happen. But I think when I did it in 1999, you know, it's still one of the biggest, highest rated shows in the history of Discovery Network. And it totally set the tone for the next 20 years for all of that type of TV. I think there was way less people into it then than there is now.
Yeah,
so
it's a little more mainstream now. And shit, in 1995, if you'd have told somebody, I'm going to do a show of a guy like welding together motorcycle parts, they'd be like,
I'm working on this documentary for the channel that I've been literally thinking about it before I was ever on TV for like 20 or 30 years. And this guy was just as good as he was with metal and metal fabrication, stainless tubing, hard lines, chromoly, and equally as good with like cherry wood, rosewood, birch. He was an equally as good woodworker as he is with metalworker. Both disciplines, like, completely great. And like, I've been fascinated by him for better part of 30 years. And I just now, like last summer, I really started putting the pieces together and starting doing the deep dive on research and stuff like this. And this guy's just such an interesting guy, and he just disappeared off the planet. And he was an artist, and he taught stuff with, you know, he showed stuff at art shows with like Andy Warhol and Rothko and all this stuff. And like, I think history has completely forgot about him because his stuff was more leaning towards fabrication, automotive, you know, our type of stuff, you know, and it's such a cool paradox because it's like, it leaves the question like, okay, was this guy forgotten because he did mechanical grease monkey type of stuff? So he wasn't really ever considered to be an artist. It wasn't giving the, you know, as the other guys that were painting and doing sculpture, you know, and so that's kind of the stuff that I'm working on. Like with that, I'm real excited about this documentary and making it happen. And that'll probably launch, you know, at least a year from now, you know, but I don't know. I'm excited about it. I'm trying to like curtail my excitement on the whole network thing, just because I don't like to like grandstand before something's done. You know, I kind of want to, I don't know, get it happen and then take a victory lap, you know, when it works.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I've been waiting for something like that for a long time. You got to get Troy signed up too, because man, Rides was right up there with one of the most bitchin' shows.
Yeah,
there was.
I think it's gonna be awesome with you behind the, you controlling the reins, I guess, and not having to deal with the network bullshit and come up with what they think is going to sell versus just what's cool and authentic. So I think big picture, that's what sells.
I'm trying. There's this show in Mexico called Mexicanicos. Have you ever seen it?
No. Solid name though.
Where would one go to find said show?
It's on Discovery Mexico, which is a total separate
I don't
thing.
have that on.
And it's like the
TV.
Mexican Monster Garage. So if you're like, you own a pineapple plantation deep on mainland Mexico, and you want a tourist bus for your tourist shop shaped like a pineapple, you go to these dudes. And it's like the worst fabrication you've ever seen ever. It's just like a bunch of like 1x1 tubing bent in a vise and like chicken wire and paper mache, then covered with like 1 million gallons of Bondo. But then they like pull it off. It's awesome when it's done.
Are you sure you're not talking about that dude up in Canada that's doing that stuff?
No. It's called Mexicanicos, and like every time I go to Mexico, I watch it. But I'm really interested in getting, and it's all in Spanish. They don't even have it dubbed over or nothing. And it's like I'd like to put stuff like that on it, you know. And I tried to push Discovery, like we should really air that here. And they just look at me like I had like a third eye or something. Like you're crazy. Like anything people say, like having me have the reins of my own network and pick and choose the programming, you know, it's going to have a lot of great fab stuff and a lot of stuff that we want to see and a lot of stuff that we'll introduce, but it's also going to be fun as hell because it's like, I don't know, it's kind of not a good idea to let me do whatever I want. Just try not to get sued, you know?
That's also a good idea, though. That's what makes it interesting.
That's
It makes it watchable.
Yeah, like just different stuff, you know? It's like, I don't know. In this day and age where everything's a TV show or a reality show, it's really hard to be different, but no one's even scratched the surface of like the stuff that we really do, you know, and like really done it in a way and presented it where it is like art. And it is like, you have to be, you know, some of these guys I know that are CNC machinists and designers, and look at like Magic Mike, like look at how good he is. Yeah. Like you're telling me that guy's like a dumbass and a grease monkey and can't have an intelligent conversation because he chooses stuff that's like basically working with your hand oriented, you know? Yeah. Like, you know, guys like that I think are geniuses in their own respect. And I think we still have to, you know, push the issue of like, you know, just because someone works a blue collar job doesn't mean they're a dumbass. No, it doesn't mean, you know,
I mean, it changes the landscape a little bit for people's future. I mean, imagine a kid that sees Mike and what he's done with an engineering background. Like, dude, a lot of
people
look at that and are like, well, engineering, that sucks. Like, that's kind of a boring job.
Right.
Well, what's boring about what's boring about what he's creating? You know, that sheds light on like, that could totally change the path for a 17-year-old kid.
With the knowledge that Mike has, he could put a rocket on the moon. You know, there's guys that are less skilled from him doing those engineering jobs at NASA.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
You know, and I think it's time to like keep pushing that where, you know, people aren't dumbasses, you know, the people that do these jobs, just like a diesel mechanic or, you know, a pipeline welder or all that stuff. You have to be really smart. You have to be on your toes. You have to be multifaceted to do these kind of jobs. And, you know, I don't think people realize that, you know. I mean, I just know people have always talked down to me when I quit doing security work, and I want to build bikes in like 1993. People thought I was an idiot. They're like, why are you going to do that?
Yeah, it's definitely It's changed, man. It's gotten more interesting to people like those. I don't like get out much with people I don't know, but when you do, the conversations are always like, you didn't want to bring up that you build cars. You know, you just be like, like fabrication and like welding. And even that was like, oh, so you're like a welder? Yeah, something like that. It's getting more like now you're the guy who's interesting, you know, in the crowd.
Something a little different.
Because everybody's so fucking boring.
Yes.
I think Jesse played a huge role in legitimizing our industry, the bike industry, the fabrication industry with everything you did 10, 15 years ago on TV, and it brought it to the mainstream. So
yeah, he romanticized it and put the sex behind it to where it wasn't, like you said, it was still the counterculture thing, but it wasn't a dumb counterculture thing. It was like, oh shit, so you're a badass like Jesse James? Yeah. For lack of a better description, absolutely. We'll go with that. You know,
my wife, I was telling like, my wife was laughing at me. It's like, I've done all this badass stuff my whole like adult life. Look, yeah, I'm going to build a chopper, and then I'm going to build guns, and then I'm going to learn how to forge. I'm going to go to Israel, and then I'm going to be a badass welder and all this stuff. Everything I can to like have chicks think I'm cool. But then I end up, instead, I got like a legion of dudes that think I'm cool.
Dude, we've always said that about the shit we do.
Car show stuff.
Yeah.
God damn it.
fucking dude magnets.
At least you got to experience like the bike lifestyle, because the chopper thing, I mean, chicks dig that. That's a little wilder scene.
Yeah, you got bikini contests and topless chicks everywhere. Yeah. We got 65 to 80-year-old men
that are fans of ours. Huge fans, right?
You got dudes in rascal mobility devices following you around.
Yeah.
You got badass leather vests. We got sweet simulated leather New Balances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to see what you're going to do with kind of this round two and
so
see what it does.
Has anybody started copying Roadster Shop yet and making chassis?
Yeah, I mean, dude, I can't tell you how many guys over the years have not only just copied making chassis, but copied the actual chassis, ranging from dudes who have left here and tried to duplicate the chassis to previous customers that have scanned, measured, duplicated. But it's not always, I mean, how many people have tried to duplicate a West Coast Choppers, but an El Diablo? Like it, sure, there's somebody capable of doing the fabrication, but nobody's going to do what you did. You know, there's a certain level of like personality in it that can't be duplicated, and it's not that fucking easy. You know,
I don't know. We're redoing that chassis right now, doing a revamp of it, and I did that frame in like 96, 97, and I can't even believe I thought of it. Like, because I patented stuff on that frame really early on, and like invented like arrow tube that's on a radius, you know, that's formed in halves and all that stuff. And I was like, I like trip out, like, I don't know, like, and I don't do drugs or anything. So how did I think of that?
Dude, wait till you see probably in the next year my mini choppers coming out. You know, because I'm like 5.
Are you still dicking with that thing?
Yeah, it's almost done. Dude, it's almost done.
Is it actually a mini bike or is it a little?
No,
bike?
It's just scaled. It's like little bitch size.
It's like a 3/4 scale.
It's my size, but it was.
What motor? What motor's in it?
It's a fucking
Harley motor. It's a Harley.
Yeah,
motor.
it's a Harley Davidson engine.
Did you have it up to a roller yet?
Yeah, it's all plated, painted, assembled. It's mostly assembled. It's almost done.
Why don't you just send it to me and let me finish it?
I should, but my buddy Bill Steele's putting it together, and I've been dragging ass on his car as much as he's been dragging on my bike. So
what frame is it?
I built it.
Oh, you built it?
Yeah, I built it all.
Yeah, you can ride it around.
Yeah, I'd probably drive it like around the block and back.
Yeah,
and then park.
You get a Dixon flannel and like button it all the way up, and like
I probably like 4 or 5 years ago I'd have probably done that, but now like I'm turning 40 and I'm kind of like a little comfortable like where I'm at, so I'll probably just be wearing my tight jeans and being myself riding it. But
dude, I had my midlife crisis when I was like 29. I married a stripper and bought a Ferrari.
I feel like I'm coming up on that.
Now I'm 53. I'm gonna have another kid.
Try the Hyundai.
No more Ferraris.
Yeah, I haven't experienced the Ferrari yet. I'll give it 5 years. In turning 40, I feel like 45 is probably a good midlife crisis for me.
Dude, I had to end though.
Did you really?
Yeah, I paid $1,050,000 for it when they came out in like 04 or 05.
It's probably a good investment, actually.
And I had it for 2 years and I sold it for $1,650,000. I'm like, yeah, 600 grand.
Nice.
That same car just sold for 3.8 million.
Oh yeah.
Damn.
And then I got a Carrera GT. Like I bought it from Tim Duncan from the Spurs because he couldn't fit in it. And I've just paid him sticker on. I think I paid $440 for it or something.
Yeah, car's worth
And
some
like,
big money.
Worst car ever to drive because it has like that Le Mans motor, and so it has an 8-inch clutch with no flywheel.
Yeah.
So it's either like you have to like mash it full throttle, or you have to like in 10 miles you'll stall that car like 6 or 8 times. Like it's the worst. So I like got rid of it, and I think I got, I don't know, 500 or 600 for it. Now they're like $3 million.
Damn.
But I don't know. It's hard for me to hang on to shit that I don't like to drive. You know, like my Topolino and my 54 Chevy, which I love to drive that car. But like, I don't know. They're all like, they're like lawnmowers to me. Like, run them until they don't do a good job anymore or make you happy, and
Gone.
see ya. That Santa Cruz is gonna be, as soon as this doesn't make me happy anymore and doesn't get me into fights.
Done.
You're just
First
using
time
that
someone
to.
gives me a thumbs up in the Santa Cruz, that thing's down the road.
I think you're just using that to relive the bodyguard days, right?
Just
You just need someone to talk shit to you.
Yeah. Dude, this dude was going to pull a gun on me in the Santa. I mean, it's funny from my perspective. It's super lame from his perspective because he's in a super duty Texas dude with a tight shirt and like his hat with the bill all curled up, and he like opened the console like he's gonna, like he had a gun in there. I'm like, go ahead, come on. Like I'm like hanging all the way out the window. Let's go, come on.
What do you think?
Out right here.
What gun do you think he had in there? Was that a Smith & Wesson like M&P or something like that?
Oh
2.0?
yeah, he had a shield.
Yeah,
he had a shield for sure. Yeah, but like, if it's lame from my perspective, because I'm driving a Santa Cruz, imagine it from his perspective. He's in a super duty, like all cowboyed out, and yeah, I like show these guys are in one of them damn Hyundais. I had to show them what's up. Son of a bitch cut me off getting off the freeway.
I wonder if at any point he recognized you and realized like what the situation was.
I don't know. He called me a bunch of names, and right up until I rolled the window down, I was hanging all the way out of the car, like one lane over. Let's go, come on! I just wait around for this to happen. Let's go. Like,
hey, before we go, tell us about your coffee. Is that shit any good? I haven't had it yet.
I had it, dude. I bought it.
Did you have?
Solid lead in.
Is it?
It's good.
Any good?
Yeah.
Well, he's going to tell the
really
truth.
good.
That's why I'm going to ask him.
I bought some.
yeah, it's strong. Like I don't drink a lot of coffee, so I drink like 2 cups of the dark roast, in like ground in an espresso maker, and then 4 shots in the 2 cups. So the whole thing fits in like one large cup of coffee. But yeah, it's strong. I love it. I love strong coffee. I think spending so much time in Europe, and we had one roaster that was like a local guy that was like kind of barely hanging on in business, and over the course of a year, we sold so much and built this whole business. He built this whole brick and mortar location, all that stuff, and then totally choked on delivery. And so we found another place that's doing all of our fulfillment and grinding all our beans for us. We just got whatchamacallit, the K-Cups, which I dig.
Oh, sweet.
I like K-Cups because they're like,
It's easy.
yeah, it's like fast.
Is that all? Is shit always in stock on your website?
Yeah, they can get it. We'll make a cup right now.
As far down the rabbit hole as you go with fabrication and building, did you go that far with the coffee business as well?
Fucking around in Colombia,
like the
finding
grind
rare
profiles
beans.
and stuff like this. You see this Danzig one we did? Danzig Misfits.
Oh, damn.
What is that?
It's a G Master, but
Oh.
like I did it for Glenn. Like the Danzig Misfits.
Of course, in the Crown Royal bag
That's
is.
what I did it for.
Oh, shit.
Oh, that's badass, man. Damn.
Yeah, and then Misfits on the other side.
Top of the bucket list.
Most of these guys shoot those. When you build them for, they just end up being collector's items.
It's about 50-50. I think 50%. They shoot so amazing and they work so good that a lot of people they're just like their favorite gun they've ever shot. So I got like Little John's lathe in here that I use every day.
Nice.
And then I got his mill, and then this is his mill from his garage. And then I got my new little Bridgeport. I'm just waiting for the power feed for it. And I set this one up just to do barrels. So just cutting the hood and doing the final fit on barrels. And then look at this machine. This is one of the machines I learned how to weld on, this Lindy.
Yeah.
And this was Little John's and Steve Davis's machine in their shop. So every championship funny car from like 68 to like 79, like Shirley Muldowney's and everything. And it's got all this cool billet stuff on it they made. And I'm doing a really cool Bernard cooler. They made like a little louver panel, and this is all billet that's anodized.
That's fucking sweet.
How's that thing weld compared to like a new Dynasty or Syncrowave?
It's still heat. It's not as smooth on the start, but it's still good. Look at Little John even made this adapter for it so you could use mag wire, because early days they didn't have spine TIG, so you run it through here and then you could just pull it out. A little nickel. Never mind that's Jackie Howerton's English wheel.
Dude, you got quite the collection.
This machine, this C-frame, this big senior trimmer Pullmax, I bought this in like 95 or 96.
I never seen one of this.
I restored it all brand new, and it's got the pneumatic head so you could start in the middle of a panel. That one, I restored it. It was all brand new, perfect, and now it looks old now.
That's a whole cast frame. I've never even seen one of those.
I think they're fabbed.
Are they?
I think it's all, because you can see it's flame cut. It's all fabbed to plate. But I like to put everything on wheels. So I got both my Yoders dialed in. This one's a U.S. Air Force one with Air Force tags that I don't know where it was from. It's got numbers on it. And this one this is out of C.L. Martin, like Lockheed Martin. It was installed in 1936.
That's cool.
And I kind of use both of them. It's kind of nice to have more than one, because like different 2-inch stretching dies. And then this one has two separate forms of shrinking dies, one real aggressive and one mildly aggressive. And then a set of stretching dies on this one. So I can go back and forth between all four heads
without changing tools.
And yeah, this one, I just restored this one like last year. This is my number 2 Pettingill. So this is the one I always had, like I'm over Cyclomania and all that stuff. It's a Fender Pettingill, but all this lower anvil and everything's all cut way back, so you can get really tight shapes on it. So it's good for doing gas tanks.
What's that? Piccolo? Yeah. Eckled Piccolo over there? Craft former?
Yeah, I got a Piccolo. The guys had it at the shop and they never used it, so I'm bringing it back over here to use it. And then I got my 665 that I use a little bit for forging. So I'll run hot stuff through the stretching dies. P9, Pullmax, then my big press. This one's 21 feet tall and 27,500 pounds. It's an 18-inch ram with 350 tons of pressure. So you put a wrench on a part.
Was that easy getting power out to that garage? What's the service you got out there? How many amps you got going to that garage?
Both of these are 4 wires. So I have 200 amp services with rotary converters coming in just to run the power. And this one, that's a 50 horsepower motor. The motor on the press weighs 2,200 pounds. So it cost me, I had to rebuild it or have it rewound. It cost me $2,000 to have someone come out and just pull the motor off. And the pump has a piston in it it's an 8-inch piston, because I had to make rings for it because the rings were bad. And this came out of Reynolds Metal, this Chambersburg, and the main machine weighs 36,500 pounds. And this sow block is mounted to another. It goes down into the concrete 55 inches.
Damn.
And it weighs 9,500. So
yeah, that's got to be tough to get like a rigger in a residential spot moving that giant stuff.
Oh, this one, the the power Chambersburg broke the driveway. You could see when they were bringing it in. There's this big old busted spot you can see underneath my truck where it like, you hear it cracking, and it the whole thing almost fell over, and then the guy dropped it at the last minute. But yeah, it's kind of good. All this dirty fab stuff, and you get it all the clean side over there. I'm still working on it, but we still have the whole woodworking shop. Like that master woodworker, Alex, works up here in this shop above me. He's there, and like a full polishing shop up there.
What's up in that like fucking
crow's nest up there?
I don't know. We just built it because there's no building permits, so we just do whatever we want. So I built it. Cool. And just for the hell of it, to shoot at the shop, it's 2,000 yard shot.
Oh, sweet.
That's pretty cool.
I don't like the guys. I like range found it out. Like the shop is at like, I don't know, 3/4 of a mile away. I'm like, yeah, you guys are 2,000 yards.
Keeps them in check.
Yep.
You're sending them like pictures through your scope.
Yeah.
Back to work, fuckers.
Yeah, that's a hell of a setup, dude. That's got to be a pleasure working in there.
It's good. I love it. I love beer. I mean, I'm by myself most of the time. I'm over at the other shop like a couple times a day, but mostly just in here. And I like put a waterfall, so it's like
it's very zen, like tranquil.
Yeah, and there's like pond and koi and stuff down there, and like.
Can you hear that over the power hammers?
Well, the shop in Long Beach, you guys never went to my personal shop there, but I couldn't even see the like sky from my shop. My shop was in like an alleyway, and so it was like a dungeon. So now, like, just the fact that we have a bird in here building a nest, like it makes me so happy. And like,
it's actual wildlife that can thrive and survive.
Yeah, you know, like. I don't know. I was down on the port of Long Beach, so it was like down on the wharf. So it was real, just Long Beach rats and cats and all this. It was just gross, you know.
Well, dude, it's been awesome, man.
Yep, I better go eat dinner.
I appreciate it. Have a good one. We look forward to all this cool shit.
Okay. All right, guys. I'll catch you later.
Appreciate it, Jesse.
Later, dude. Thanks.
See you guys.
Big thanks again to Jesse James. Remember, you can keep up with Jesse by following on Instagram at Pope of Welding. And you have to, because he's shadow banned, you have to type out the whole thing. Next up, you know what it's time for?
What's that?
I didn't read the notes. What's the time for?
Whiskey review.
Oh, yeah. We're on top of it.
I want to.
Right
like with the Skittle. With the Skittle.
We got
you don't want to
insanely one-upped on that.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
I was like, you should make this. Like, it'd be badass. Like, thinking it's the coolest thing we've ever got.
Gold AK.
And then he breaks out a gold AK with ivory furniture.
It's funny though. He'd have fat fingered that trigger.
You guys make fun of me every time I start drooling over that gold AK. I think it's awesome. That and the Miami Vice pistol are the two that you guys are always busting my balls about. But
no, I think the gold AK is awesome. I've always have said.
And you guys are busting my balls about the Honda Ridgeline. And what does Jesse James drive?
This whole episode was a huge win for Phil.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was a huge loss for Jesse because I mean they say never meet your heroes. Don't find out what your heroes drive. That's what you should do.
You should rewrite that. Because if you're a car guy, don't find out what your heroes drive.
So, what are we drinking? Tell us about this. This is new to me. I don't know, Phil. This is one you brought in, Phil.
Phil just delivered a nice little batch of purchasable bourbons.
Yeah, we've had a lot of reviews about you can't get or you're not reviewing things we can actually find. So, headed on down to Garfield's and picked up a few.
Garfield's what? Beverage Warehouse and Liquor Emporium.
So this is one I've been seeing a lot on the Instagram, the Penelope Architect, and seen a lot of good reviews. It's very hard to get, but is obtainable. Penelope has a handful of them. We've done a few of their other bottles that were okay.
Yeah, we had the one that was sitting up there that was like had a massive amount of sediment in it that I always see.
It looked like a Amazon riverbed.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Not great.
What's the price point on that?
I think this was like $60 or $70, a little bit up there, but not like the insane $150, $200 unobtainable. You got to search it out a little bit to find it. I would say definitely put that on the search it, find it, buy it if you can.
I'm with you.
I liked it way better than their other stuff. They have a nice little write-up on the back, if you could read for everybody here about.
It's a lot to read. Yep. So I was wondering, why is it called the Architect Series? So
it's Go ahead.
It's a blueprint for the future of precision blending. The third build in this series combines our signature 4-grain mash bill with French oak staves, working in collaboration with Tonnerie Redoux of France. Figured that was French. The market leader in oak.
Nailed it.
Killed it.
Dude, knock that out of the fucking
That's
park.
why I wasn't going to read it.
In oak barrel. That rolled right off the tongue. In oak barrel manufacturing and innovation, we select each stave using their state-of-the-art oak stave process to construct a truly memorable flavor profile. After all, the best architecture leaves no room for error. Bunch of bullshit, but it's good. It's a simple way of saying it's pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
They put some effort into making it better than their other stuff.
Yeah. I dig it. I liked it.
I was a big fan.
Review it.
Yeah, really good flavor. A little bit of chest burn on the initial couple sip skis, but then smoothed out. I'm going to go 7.75.
It's up there.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
I said I liked it.
Oh,
it is good.
Wow, I wasn't expecting that.
No, I cheated and looked at everything beforehand. So
Did you?
You placed that.
Yeah, I was skeptical after coming off the other Penelope that I wasn't in love with. This is a lot darker, way darker, higher proof. Like Phil said, hits you with a little bit of burn, not too much, just to let you know that there's some proof there. But it's like super sweet. I feel like it's almost like I feel like it'd be great for a entry level kind of bourbon drinker if you want to start drinking something neat, because it's almost like you took a little bourbon and put some sweet and low in it.
Yeah, it's a little, it's a little sweeter.
So I liked it.
Sweeter.
I'm not going to review it as high as Phil. I'm going to go 7.4, but I dig it. I like it. Buy it.
You just wanted to shit on my review a little
No,
bit.
your review. Hey, Phil, your review is your review. It's
all fancy with the French words.
That's,
better review.
Yeah.
And,
That's why we do the reviews, and we varied wildly on some stuff before, and we fell right in line with stuff before. That's honestly why we do it, because it's not just everybody doesn't like the same shit.
To justify drinking during the whole
podcast.
podcast.
That's the real reason. But.
No, I think I'm on the money. I was 7.4 on an Eagle Rare 10-year, so that's a good review.
You don't have to justify your review. Your number is what your number is. You know?
Saying.
I think that the taste, the physical taste, was pretty good. Like you said, it was way darker than the other. I liked all that. Still just a little bit young-ish tasting or whatever. So I'm gonna go 7.2. But I liked it. But it's just you're not up in there to mid sevens for me. But that shows you right there why you need to get out there and try them. Absolutely. We've got 2 seasons here of varied reviews, and
I wonder if the amount of alcohol that we've consumed affects the rating. It probably affects the description.
I think it makes it better.
I think it's been, if you look at some of the earlier bottles, when we first started this podcast, we were crushing a bottle. We were finishing.
We've matured.
We've grown up quite a bit.
Well,
and that's
3
probably
or 4
why they're
DUIs would make you mature.
It's probably why they're more coherent.
Yeah, a little bit. I think we're getting a little older though. We can't handle it.
I was going to say the podcast, like bourbon, is getting better with
drinking
age.
less and enjoying it more, and you can review it better because you are coherently speaking about it. You know what you're saying.
Well, and we've developed a hell of a tolerance.
That too.
Yeah, we have. Is that it for this week, guys? Is that all we've got?
I got a cool knife in my pocket. I don't know if I've shown this before.
Oh,
Phil,
you should have broke that out for Jesse.
I know. I didn't want to. He was showing all sorts of cool stuff, and I didn't want to.
Yeah, he probably would have shit on it.
I didn't want to rain on his parade because it's cooler than.
So we're just. This is just Jeremy's. Something cool in Jeremy's pocket. This is a new segment. Something cool in Jeremy's pocket.
What does Jeremy have in his pocket today? I feel like I busted this out once before, but for those who haven't seen it, it's quite possibly the greatest pocket knife in the history of mankind, right there.
That is a one of 2.
One of 2. Phil has one. I have one. Created by the boys here at RS, Josh himself, Chris, Chris, and Mike.
Yeah,
the dream team.
And I don't have the case that it came in with me because the case is just as impressive as the knife itself.
Let's be honest, the case is probably more impressive than the knife.
Probably is.
Case is pretty badass.
Coming from a guy who likes
I'm a box guy, man.
I
you
like a box. I like a case, but
I can see that you've probably placed the knife in a drawer and you put other like nicer things in the case because you just like the box.
I like to open it and close it periodically. It sits on my dresser.
Okay.
So I can look at it and touch it daily.
I can see you having like some marbles in there and like whatever you're like high end, like a half joint and something like you've got like
I got like a couple dominoes of one of my favorite keychains.
Yeah. That's where you keep your
Nice things. You got in there, pop that liner out that you get his machine to fit the nut.
Oh, yeah. But this is the ultimate flex. This nut, yank this thing out. That's
an engraved Microtech and polished.
Quite the conversation piece right there.
Yeah. That's great for that group of like when your wife's like, hey, we're gonna go out with a couple of couples, and stuff like that. And there's the guy he usually talks a little loud, and he's like,
he's got a what is it?
They got to open something, and like, oh, I got a pocket knife right here on me. Oh, that's
the onion.
Oh yeah,
that's a Ken chive.
Yeah, and that's a flip. Oh, you see, I carry a pocket knife. You guys ever carry pocket knives?
Yeah, then I take this out and I cut the blade off of his knife with it.
Oh, actually, I do happen to have one on me. It's just no big deal. Yeah. Thanks again for listening to Oil and Whiskey with the Roadster Shop, an Ironclad original. If you like the show, be sure to leave us a rating or review on that brand new Oil and Whiskey YouTube page. Thanks again to our guest, Jesse James. We'll see you again next week.